So, let's discuss one more again the state of gaming before I get into my game that I've chosen to play tonight on my GameCube. I've turned my GameCube on, not my PS4, not my 3DS, not a recent gen, not a Wii U. No. I'm turning on retro systems. There's a reason for this. There is a reason retro has become very popular. There's a reason retro is taking over. There's a reason retro is blowing up. Um, and unfortunately, it's because the new generation is plagued with diseases. And that's a metaphor. Please understand that is a metaphor. I don't mean physical diseases. I mean, there are diseases that you notice. And these diseases are noticeable on every level, and they infect um, every party out there, whether it be third party, first party, Microsoft, PlayStation, and even Nintendo in times. Um, Everybody has this infection. No one is immune to it. The infections I'm talking about being DLCs, add-ons, season passes, hype. Hype is a disease. Yes, hype is now a disease. Um, you have microtransactions, that's a disease. These diseases have infected so much of the new generation of gaming that old school games like Nintendo, Atari, Sega Masters, Sega CD, Genesis, Dreamcast, 64, Super Nintendo, GameCube, original Xbox, PlayStation 2, all these consoles before are turning into the golden boy. They're looking great. Yes, PS4 sales are still fine. They're still doing great. But they could be a whole lot better. Look, PlayStation is moving out of the handheld market. That's known. Everybody knows this. They were like, "Oh, we're moving out of the handheld market." Not a surprise to anybody. No. By the way, if you hear the music in the background, I chose to play Resident Evil 3 today. And that's why I said my GameCube. I have it on GameCube. I'm fixing to start playing it here in a little bit. I just wanted to make this video real quick. But this I noticed when I was walking around GameStop. As I'm walking around GameStop, I'm looking at my PS4 I'm looking at the PS4 collection. I'm thinking, maybe I'll get a new PS4 game because I still haven't even added this to it, okay? It's in my collection, but it's not on my hard drive. You see what I'm saying? Like, I have games I don't even have on my hard drive. Alright? I need to upgrade the hard drive in my console, and I still haven't even done that. And it's not a factor of money, it's just I haven't even done that. I just don't care to. Literally, PlayStation hasn't given me a reason to. My girlfriend asked me where the fuck the games were. She's wanting games, and I have no answer for her, other than call Microsoft and ask them where the fuck the games are. And I keep saying the same thing, and I know I sound like a broken record, and I know a lot of people sound like a broken record. We all wonder where the fuck the games are. And it's all because this generation, along with the ending of last generation, became infected. All of it. It all became highly infected, and it all became highly way polluted. It's so overly mainstream and so overly politics now. I mean, it's outside the being infected with the things I told you earlier, with the hype, the DLC, the add-ons, the season passes, the hype itself. Outside of that, the politics in the gaming world, the trolling in the gaming world, all these things have damaged the fun that this used to have. It's damaged just the overall experience in the gaming world. And it's taken a toll on the consoles. It's taken a toll on everything. Look at what it's done. Just look at it. We now result in going to our older consoles because there was none of this. We result in buying old consoles just so we can sit here and have some fucking fun. Not because the games were more entertaining or because they were less buggy or any of that shit. This is all true. They were. Every part of that is true. Pardon me. They had less bugs. They had less glitches. They didn't have any of that DLC bullshit. They didn't have any of the problems facing today. But the fact of the matter is that they were more fun. Okay? They were less mainstream and focused around just having fun. Today's games, it seems like they don't even focus on that. They're more focused on, are they competition? Can we compete with anything? How can we be exactly the same as this over here? Are we soft enough that if a 2-year-old picked up the controller, he could play it, even though the game is rated M for people who are 17 and older? You see what I'm saying? There's so much politics and red tape in gaming now because they're so mainstream that we can't just enjoy ourselves. Because everyone's afraid of everyone. Everyone's afraid of their own shadow moving. They're afraid of a leaf blowing in the wind. Okay? And it's affected every aspect of gaming. And this is what I mean by when I say the gaming world as a whole has become so infected and so cancerous amongst itself. And it's affected everything. It's affected every major giant in the gaming corporation and everything. And that's why, retro's taken off in the way it has. I mean, PlayStation 4 is going to sell great. It's still selling great. It's not really going to slow down, especially now that Sony's, dropping out of the handheld market. It's just going to take off even more. But, I mean, there's nothing we can do about that. We can sit here and bitch at Sony all day and all night because they're dropping out of a handheld market when there is a market there. There is money for them to get. There are fans of that. We can talk about that all day and night, but it's not going to help nothing. Because at the end of the day, Sony is still financially struggling because they do a whole hell of a lot more than just games. They are so much more than video games. They are so much more than God of War and, whatever the hell else they put out. I mean, there's so much more than that. They're computers, TVs, DVD players, phones, all that shit. And they've made no money in any of those markets. And they drew money from those markets to help the PS3. And they've been trying to pay that money back for over 10 years. And they are just now starting to see a little bit of money go back into that. But yet they still gotta make the PS4 somehow bring money in and make that money go back at the same time. And that's damn near impossible when the profit of the PS4 isn't all that much to begin with. So, I mean, you see the point. Then you have Microsoft. Microsoft is now going on record. They're now saying they might not even be around for a whole nother gaming console. This might be their last one, which doesn't surprise me considering the way this one took off after having such a great, last console. Even though my personal opinion on it was it sucked, they managed to screw themselves so bad that they may never have another console. I haven't liked the Xbox name since the first console. I love the first one, and I haven't liked them since. That's just my opinion. But again, this is a company that does more than just video games. And they have to look after everything. And you're last left with something, and everyone seems to hate on. And that's Nintendo. Nintendo is a gaming company, and that is all they do. They have t-shirts, action figures, but at the end of the day, they are a gaming company, and they're here for games. And nobody seems to want to support that. Nobody's wanting to support the fact that this company here, Nintendo, makes games first. They have money in the bank. They have money for generations of gaming. And everyone wants to boo-hoo, bitch, piss, and moan about Nintendo. And it's looking like that's going to be your only option here towards the end of this generation. And the sad part is, you can't bitch no more about it. You and me cannot bitch about this no more. I've been saying that they've needed to get off, not Nintendo, but Sony and Microsoft need to get off their high horse and start putting their head on their shoulder and get it out of their ass, because they're doing it to themselves. I didn't support Sony for the better part of a decade because they were doing it to themselves, and they deserved everything they got for it. That is the honest to God opinion of me. Everything that happened during the PS3 era, they deserved it because they told us to go fuck ourselves. The hack happened and they didn't do anything to fix it. Their network is a piece of shit and they still refuse to fix it. Everything that happens is their fault. They could fix it if they got off their ass. This problem they have is their own doing. The fact they hemorrhaged money last generation is their own fault. Their head got so massive they couldn't walk through any door. That's their fault. Same thing with Xbox. Their head got so massive and up their own ass they couldn't even deflate it to get it out. They had to get a whole new person to save the name before it even fucking came out. And it still seems like, even with the new guy, it's just a little too late. I mean, they won't release numbers because it's so bad. You see what I'm saying? And all we're left with is Nintendo. That's all we're left with. Is a gaming company. And it's fucked up because they make video games. But, I mean, when you go and you listen to other people talk, they talk about the only gaming system worth playing anyway is the Wii U, because it's the only gaming system that actually offers something completely out there that's different from everyone else. They're the only system that has original IP. They're the only system that offers games that won't break on you. And they're the only system that actually offer free DLCs. So we have Sony backing out of handheld to save money. We have Xbox that might not be around for a whole nother generation. It might not be around after this one. And we have Sony that might not be around after this one either. And the fucked up part about it is, they did it to themselves. Nintendo has been around for over 100 years. And everyone screams the death of Nintendo whenever something happens. They're not going anywhere. That is a gaming company that makes games, and they've been around for over 100 years. They started with card games, now they're into video games. They have money in the bank, and they got money on top of money on top of money, and they've invested and made the right investments for years. They have the Pokemon name, they have Mario, they have Zelda, they have Metroid, they have the rights to so many things. They're not going anywhere. Keep wishing for them to go somewhere, and if they ever do go somewhere, trust me, the end result will be you'll be on your knees going, please come back. If you think I'm lying, look at what you're doing for Sega. You've probably seen that little rumor thing going around for the Dreamcast 2. How hard are you on your knees, sucking the proverbial dick and balls, hoping that thing comes true? Anyway, that's my address for the State of Gaming Part 2. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Hopefully this won't become an annual thing. Hopefully this is the last one I'll have to do. If not, I'll see you on the next one. As always,